Today's guest is Deon Norals. He is the president and CEO of iHealth Innovative Solutions, and he's a huge supporter of organizations that we'll get to talk about and HBCUs. And Deon and I met when I was working at the Millennium Challenge Corporation. We had some great times there. Thanks for joining me today, Deon.
Hey, thank you for the invite, Jeremy. Always great to connect with you.
So for those who haven't met you, worked with you, spent some time with you, talk a bit about your background, where you are, where you're from, who you are, and what you do.
Yeah, so I am Deon Norals, president and CEO of iHealth Innovative Solutions. We are a small CBE, SBA certified hub zone organization located here in Washington, D.C., as well as global reach. Our focus really is bridging the gap between healthcare, science, research, and technology. And we do that by leveraging some of the best of breed solutions to address complex problems that not only could deliver remarkable cost saving outcomes, but also accelerate discoveries using health intelligence and analytics while providing project management expertise, implementing sound application development practices within DevOps, supporting and implementing cloud migrations, as well as improving electronic health records management, as well as delivering state-of-the-art cybersecurity detection solutions. Our organization really builds value and opportunity by investing in cybersecurity, analytics, digital solutions, science, and research. Our culture of innovation empowers our employees as creative thinkers, bridging unparalleled value for our clients and problems we tackle. I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, going to not the norm of going straight to university. I made a stop at Dunwoody College of Technology, where I received my associates in computer networking. Loved it so much, got Cisco certified up into CCNP, and then went off and got my bachelor's as I wanted to get more into management from University of Minnesota. And so from there, it really was just cultivating the route that I wanted to take, whether it wanted to be in the server administrations or in the networking space, and furthermore, getting into the management space. And so that really helped solve some of those things I wanted to do.
So, since you said you kind of cultivated that plan, if you will, did that include, were you very selective in where you went to work?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I got an opportunity to do some service desk, right? So I'm not the norm of individuals who go that path. So I've been on the service desk side, I've been on the application development side, I then moved into the server administration side, and then fell in love with the networking and security side. Interestingly enough, I got an internship working for a medical benefits company, Swartz Williams, back in Minneapolis, and literally just loved everything about being able to have the latitude to provide recommendations on solutions that I thought fit best within that organization. And so from there, I went to go work for a consulting company. I did not know I was going to go work for a consulting company. Interestingly enough, just applied and they said yes. So I went in and worked there for a year and a half, and then one of the companies that we supported was GE Healthcare, and the CIO loved me so much, he pulled me out of there, and then I became the director of infrastructure for GE Healthcare.
Oh, wow. So I didn't really prep you for this, but how did you get from GE Healthcare to owning your own business, right? There's a decision matrix in there somewhere where you say, I want to own my own, job. How does that work?
Yeah, so that transition happened, interestingly enough, when I was coming back from the Philadelphia Eagles and Green Bay game. So a friend and I drove down to Green Bay, and interestingly enough, drove back to Minneapolis the same night. And so it rained, sleeted, and snowed in Minneapolis, and I left my de-icer in the car. So it was literally a blizzard. And I think there was sometime in November, I decided, hey, I'm completely out of here. I have to go. So I literally looked for opportunities where I had relationships, and Atlanta was a place that I had family. So what happened was I called my aunt and said, hey, I need to couch surf for a month or two while I look for new opportunities. And I applied for a opportunity in Atlanta for Octapharma Healthcare. And interestingly enough, it's one of those things where, they loved me, they flew me down, and they hired me. So I ended up staying on the couch for 2 days, found the apartment, and ended up working for Life Therapeutics, which now is Octapharma Healthcare. And then that transition was really just trying to understand, hey, where I was going from, really just working for different companies. I really wanted to kind of get into my own. So then I moved to DC and ended up working for a management consulting company, which is Westover Consulting, So got into government contracts. I have to give, full support to Dr. Faye Coleman, who really showed me the ropes and the way of government contracting and that personable relationship to have with the government, as this was the only time that I actually got a chance to interface with kind of government relationships and so forth. So just continue to develop that relationship with those peers. And, she ended up selling her firm. And so my first customer was the transition between Dr. Faye Coleman's company, Westover Consultants, and Business Integra. So Business Integra, that was the first contract. Just the transition of moving our systems into their cloud systems, and then obviously it was one of those things where, hey, well, I still have the relationships at NIH, still have the relationships at HHS and FDA and all these other individual agencies, and really just start to cultivate the relationship and start developing what I believe now is a great organization as an iHealth.
Wow. So you didn't mention it. So how large is the company?
So we are roughly 17 employees with about 4 or 5 consultants, and those consultants serve from various roles, from CFO to business development, as well as HR consulting. And so we are not as large as we should be as of right now. So until we become that stage, we then will bring on full-time individuals who will support us in that capacity.
All right, but still, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, correct. Totally agree. And here, this model, obviously, I looked at a couple of different companies that were successful, right? Looked at a couple of different companies that failed. And so some of the failures that these companies had were they go out and get these large offices, right, and large spaces, hire these individuals that, obviously wouldn't be doing the amount of work they needed to do at that present time. So our growth strategy was really strategic. And so even from a contracting level standpoint, we were only working at agencies where we had really great relationships and so forth, and didn't want to grow out of capacity to support us in some of these government certifications that we were trying to achieve. And so we bought on an HR consultant, bought on a recruiter from a consulting standpoint, bought on finance from a standpoint, even bought on legal, interestingly enough, that we needed from that capacity. And it helped create those strategic partnerships with those agencies or other small businesses who essentially, also provide us back office support.
Wow, that's awesome. So as you've gone through this, career, you've kind of worked the gamut, right, in the IT field and into running your own business. What's something you've kind of run into that if we came to you, Deon, and said, today you get to make a change that will impact us all, or at least maybe we won't, maybe it's so hard to make a change. Maybe the change is so hard, it's not immediate, right? Maybe it's a suggestion of a change we need to really consider. What's something you've seen through your career that you would bring up to that kind of level?
Yeah, interestingly enough, as I've been able to work in these different healthcare spaces, it's always been one of the enablers of enabling a more efficient healthcare system. We look at all of the bureaucracies of either, getting things filed or different ICD-10s and different policies being regulated and things of that nature, really just trying to find a middle ground for all of us to work to improve our healthcare systems.
Mm-hmm.
If we look at the healthcare systems throughout the world, US obviously is lagging, but it's definitely has the potential to be, a force within that space. But I think we need to improve our workforce development, right? Constant upskilling, things of that nature, workforce development, improving, a pipeline of opportunity for the next generation of tech savvy workforce. And so that goes back to what I believe is a government partnership with university and STEM organizations and technology associations to help kind of streamline that path.
Well, that kind of brings us to my next question. When we were talking before the interview started, you were mentioning quite a large number of organizations that you are involved with, that you get involved with. Talk a bit about who they are and the involvement you're doing with them, and why are you doing that?
Yeah, so we have our staff is really committed back to the origin of who we are, right? Trying to serve the people, and part of that is creating the partnerships with so others may eat and bread for the city. Those are local nonprofits here in DC, where it's really about food sacrifice and food safety and things of that nature, and really just career development. So going in, whether we're bagging clothes or whether we're serving food, it's just a commitment our staff does monthly And that's the investment that we do as an organization because we believe in giving back.
Mhm.
There's also NACI, right? National Association of Health Service Executives. And really, NACI, as when I served as president in 2000 and I'm dating myself, 2018 and 2020, it was really around fostering these innovative ideas of engaging more minorities to get into the healthcare space, whether it
Mhm.
was from an ambulatory care, whether it's from a clinical side, or whether it's from a technology side, and really pushing that forward. That organization was started by Bernard Tyson, the late Bernard Tyson, from Kaiser and Permanente, and him and maybe three of his friends, Lloyd Dean and two others. I'm drawing a blank on right now, but they started this organization almost 53 years ago, really focused on fostering these programs to move minorities into this healthcare space because they saw an opportunity for that to be, something to address some of the health disparities we see in minorities right now. And really, that's around addressing gaps in inequality, health and healthcare and minority differences, social economic statuses, racial and ethnical background, as well as the educational level. Obviously, being able to be a part of SBA's emerging leaders, I felt there was only need to be able to provide insight back to those emerging leaders who are
Mhm.
coming next, right? And so, if you're not being able to reach back and pull people up, I think you're doing a disservice in the magnitude of the opportunities that you can do and achieve from an organizational level, but also from a people person level. So serving as a chair for SBA Emerging Leaders alumni, which is now called Thrive Emerging Leaders Reimagine, it helps set the stage for the next generation of leaders and thinkers, right? Thinking outside the box, the innovators, the individuals who are going to create the next tools that allow us to do X, Y, and Z. And so being able to be a part of that organization and nonprofit, it really helps set the stage for the new and improved individuals who are coming with the ideas. Obviously, my background back in Minneapolis, being a part of Page Education Foundation, that's really where it all started. Being a recipient of the Page Scholarship back when I was in high school, and then them providing me access to get into Dunwoody College of Technology as well as University of Minnesota, St. Mary's. I thought it was only natural that I come back around and help serve on that board to provide other individuals the opportunity to do just that, right? To be able to get out and figure out exactly what's next for them. And so being able to be a part of that for over the past 7 years, it's been a tremendous thing that, obviously I'm well committed to partnering. I travel back to Minneapolis 4 or 5 times a year just to attend these meetings. So it's a huge commitment, not only to myself, but for my organization. And obviously the local commitment to DC Chamber of Commerce,
Mhm.
really being on a committee from a health and wellness committee standpoint, we actually get a chance to take a look at the policies that DC government is looking to implement and give a chance to provide feedback and also do our own outreach to look and survey, what are some of the things that we believe that could approve within DC government policy standpoint from a health and wellness standpoint. So we all are able to provide some of that feedback.
That's awesome. So what's next, Deon? I mean, I know you're growing a business, and you're looking at what's next for you personally, or what's next for your company.
Yeah, so what's next for us is really trying to be a key enabler in this health technology, right? And so we realized that, we've been in this business since 2014. So we understand the health and we understand bridging that health with technology. And as we start to see COVID, obviously, you see a number of healthcare companies pop up saying they do health IT. But, our organization, we really want to cultivate relationships with leaders in the space, right? So we've been able to do that over the course of the last 6 years or so and really just formulate what we want to be as an organization. And so what we did was we created relationships with Howard University and Alabama and A&M. And what those opportunities and what that relationship does for us is help create laboratories, or the forward thinking piece of that is to create these laboratories, what we call or will call iHealth Lab, at some of these universities that will support us from a laboratory support, right? Support us from cybersecurity, support from research and development, as well as emergency preparedness and prevention. And so for our organization, we really are trying to get into that bioterrorism space. And I think we're doing the O&M work right now to support our initiatives and research and development into this bioterrorism space. So from the long-standing things, iHealth wants to be, kind of the key enabler in bioterrorism. We're looking at air monitoring, food analysis, notification procedures, risk assessment, healthcare, looking at a laboratory response network, looking at clinical laboratories. So that's where we want to go as an organization. And I do see that we'll be making some forward traction in that space over the next couple of years.
Wow. Well, I look forward to seeing it. I know I don't work in the health space, so it's always interesting to me to hear what's going on in that space and what's next. And Deon, I thank you for coming on. You've been a good friend, and I look forward to seeing what's next for your business.
Well, thank you for this opportunity to share. And as always, please feel free to let me know if there's anything I can do.